Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Architect's Maze. Today's video is going to be about, it's a request basically from two people. The first request was to do like a elevation change hole, something like Pebble Beach hole 7 where you got the par 3 that goes downhill. And the second one was to do some rock work, cliff work sort of stuff, how I go about doing that. So I thought I could combine the two into one video. If I can't get through it quick enough, I'll obviously do the second part as the rockwork one, and this is the whole elevation change sort of episode. So let's get started. We are on the Highlands theme, and we've just selected the nice square plot so we can work with that. First thing we are going to do is raise it up about 150 foot. So we'll just pick that shape for now. We'll just raise this area up, get to about 150, and we'll settle on that. That'll do. Okay, then we're going to come back, let that area taper down at the front. See how if I come here, it's raised. As I go back to the left, it's going to come down. I'm going to keep a high point, but the area is going to drop down towards the coast. So we'll hit X again, and then we should have an area that's coming down towards the coast already naturally. Next thing we are going to do is go to flatten and create a coastline. So to do that, I like to use this shape. So we'll just pop off this corner first, and we'll start working our way around. Ooh, we need to get below the water, so we need to take it down to say 197 will do. I want to get a bit of a curve on it. I just want a straight sort of, so we go a bit smaller. Take our time a little bit on this, but just want to get this bend right. So we're just going to cut it in. If you get that happen, just hit it again and it will disappear. I want to cut it in a little bit, so it's coming around the back of the hole sort of thing. Let's get rid of that little area there. We're just keeping it in the same shape, just twisting it and moving it. So that's behind our hole. Now we'll go in front of our hole and we'll just cut a little shape in this sort of way. Let's get that there. Get rid of that little bit there. It's annoying. That bit. And we'll make that bigger. I want to get like a little sort of circular shape coming through here. And then I want to be able to take it all the way then along that coastline. So we'll just keep dropping that coastline down. You don't really want to do it sort of dead straight. You can do all sorts of shapes. I wouldn't make it that big. Ideally, normally I'd do it a bit more patiently and a bit sort of this sort of size, so I can get some nicer shapes going on like that. But we'll take it all the way along to the edge of the coast. We'll just get rid of all this area along here. Get rid of that again, hit it again, get rid of that, hit it again, and again. There we go. That's that. So that's that for now. So now we've got one coastline working along. We've already got a nice cliff shape going along there. Just going to take this sharp edge off here. As you can see, it's leading that a little bit under the water. That should disappear now. That's fine. Just take a bit more off. Get a bit of that bedrock coming through. That's that. I quite like that green bit going off there at the moment. And we'll just do a little bit going this way as well, along this coast, so that none of this is in the way of what I'm seeing. Do it again. So we've created like a little inlet there behind, which will be behind our hole. Obviously, this is how I just do the coastlines basically. Just keep changing the angle, you get all sorts of different shapes going on. As long as you're sort of consistent, and you can cut off as many corners as you want. You can make more inlets if you want. I wouldn't do it quite such a severe angle, but if I cut that bit in there and then take off that sharp edge over there, you can get sort of more interesting shapes happening. little coves and things. Keep going along. I don't want to dwell too much on this, but it's just to show you quickly. So obviously I've got my cliffs there. We've raised up this area. If I want to create cliffs along here, I just simply do the same thing. Go to the, any shape will do this really, but use this one because it tapers off in the other direction, the land side, nicely. We can raise up more cliffs as we see fit, as high as we want, or as low as we want, or as big as we want, or so we can do that sort of thing like that. Now with this new bedrock sort of thing, you don't really need to really add much rock work to them, but I like to, just to create an extra sort of level of dimension to it. So let's get our hole in first. So we want to say start around here. We'll work out the distance of the hole in a second, because I want to make it about, yeah, around this sort of distance, 160, something like that. So it's obviously brought up this rubbish, so I want to get rid of this. And we'll just go here, go to hole options, T-box settings, and actually we'll go this way, T-box settings, put that on 0, get rid of that T-box. Then we'll go to the rough settings, get rid of the 16 yards on the light and the heavy. And then we should just be left with our waypoints. So how close is that? Yeah, I'm going to bring that cliff a bit closer at the back there to the hole. So I want to get rid of this stupid thing as well, this bunker. So bunkers, detach bunkers. And then it'll bring up all the bunkers there. Hit that one and select them all. Oh, not pin 1, just that one. Get rid of that. Delete section. Right now we're on where we want to be. So I want to take off the cliff to about, bring it back to about here. So we'll just go back to the same tool again. And we'll just do a little bit more shaping of taking that out of the equation. So we'll just get it down below water level again. So 300 foot is absolutely plenty. And we'll just start bringing it a bit closer to the hole. Say around that. Smooth that little bit off there. Get rid of this big chunk of land. This is how you can leave islands as well and things like that in the water. Just by creating that, you've done that island there, but we don't want that, so we'll just get rid of that in a second. Just make it bigger than the island itself. Hit it again. That should sink all that. It's gone. Now we're sort of getting to where we want to be. Now obviously we're going to have to, we've lost our sense of elevation here, so we'll go back to raise. We'll go back to the fuzzy brush, this one, and we're going to bring it up about, we'll have a look by eye and see what we can see. So looking at where the hole is, looking at where the T-box is, that sort of height, 50 foot. Let's take it to 60. We can always lower it again if we need to. And obviously we're going to need to create a bit of a flat spot for our T-box. So first thing we'll do is we'll put in our T-box itself. So we'll go to fairway. Now you want to make a shallow T-box really, so you're close to the edge with your tee so you can actually see clearly. If I make a deep T-box that way, I've got to make all that flat. I'm going to lose my green. But if I make it this way, I make it quite small and shallow and keep it nice and close there, I can now take away the land in front of me. And we'll put another T-box in, so here. Okay, then we'll then flatten that out. So we'll get our sideways shape like we just did. Get that like that. Now I want to keep it roughly to the height of what's behind. So we'll do one like that, make it a bit smaller, like that. And we'll just shuffle it forward and create a nice little step down to our next one. Just by using the flat. Now hopefully that's not going to block off our view of the green too much. But if it does, there's a way around it. So let's just draw a quick green in, and then we can start to get a look at where we are in terms of heights and things like that. We've got our 2 points, our tee box and our green. That's all we really need to start. So let's move that spline, make it a little bit bigger and twist it around this way. Just want to leave a couple of spots to put bunkers in. Want a decent sized green. Next one we're going to do is smooth that spline. So we're going to hit edit and we're going to go smooth. Next thing we're going to do is go back to the landscape flatten tool, the big fuzzy one, and we're just going to flatten the area around the whole green. So we're like that sort of shape, anything a lot bigger than the green basically, because I want to flatten that whole area out. That's that. Come back to our tee box and see what we can see of the actual green, if anything at all. Play course. See what we can see. So at the moment all we can see is the tee box in front. Now ideally you don't have to have the tee box in front. It would save us a lot of hassle if we didn't, but I'd like to put a double step tee box in just to show you that it can be done. So really the only thing we can do in that respect is lower our tee box here. So we've already got a nice flat shape there, so we can just drop it down another few foot there, bring it back, try that. I still don't think we'll be able to see the green, but we should see a little bit more of it. Should have something creeping into view now. We've got a bit of our green now. We're 75 foot down. Okay, so the next thing that we can do is edit course. We will go, if we can find it, where is she? Over here. So the next thing we're going to do is going to get this overly shape here. We're going to raise everything up, say to about that. Once we've got our heights right, we can start smoothing in the transition of the actual slope going down. Play course. This should obviously bring it. We've lowered the tee box in front and we brought the green up, so now we've got a nice view of the green. We're 67 foot down. Okay, so that's a reasonable elevation drop. 67 foot. Nice and downhill. We could drop it a little bit more if we wanted to, but I want to capture a little bit of the bunkers. Or the only other thing you can do if you really want to capture more is creep your tee box, or your tee itself forward. So we go here and click on our waypoint first, get our tee box up, move the tee and just bring it to the edge. Now we'll see even more. Now we can begin to see a bit of the tee box in front, plus the green, plus everything we need to see. We're 67 foot up. I'd like to drop that down to 70, so if I drop the, in theory, if I go back and drop the green down another 3 to 5 foot, that should get us around the 70 mark. So we're going to go to the raised shape. This one, and we'll just drop it down 3 to 5 foot, let's say 3.5 foot. Let's go 4. Right, let's go and try that again. So hopefully we should still see everything, but we should be sitting at about 70 foot now. Down. 71 foot down. We've got everything in view that we need to see. That's fine. Okay. I'm going to put a couple of bunkers in to make sure we can see those from the tee. So let's do that very quickly. We're just going to use brush shapes, nothing fancy. Create services, bunker, let's use some pots. On. Take that up. That'll do for a minute. Bunker. bunker brush. Let's try this shape for this side. Gonna sit one in here, and then we need to angle all these to get the actual lip of the pot working. Should be okay that side because we're on the right bit. And let's put a couple of circular ones over this side. 1, 2. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten that whole area out and then start to raise it up, and I'll show you how to do that quickly. So we're going to go to this shape. I'm going to flatten pretty much. I want to go bigger than that area. I want to get a nice big area flat. So there. Then we're going to go smaller, and we're just going to see how we're just clipping the edge of every bunker. If we now raise that up, that should get our pot bunkers coming into effect. So they're starting to get our lips there now where we want them. They're all in the right spots. That's fine. So obviously then we can go to the bunker depth settings, and we can just make them a bit deeper within that sort of bunker base depth. Let's get that down. And then I'm going to go and create a sort of fairway situation. So let's get a little fairway going. So where can we come? We're going to come through there. Okay. I'm going to try and run a path down the side. This is all going to be quite rough, but we'll try and do it as good as we can in this time we've got. I'm going to take it to here, and I'm going to delete one of those points to get that back. So that's fine, we'll delete this point here. Okay, and we will, we're going to go edit, and we're going to smooth that whole spline out, get it nice and shaped. I'm not going to use a secondary surface, so that's fine. Got a little bit of runoff at the back there, it's quite severe. Let's smooth out our green as well. It's pretty much done as it is. So with these bunkers we can manipulate them ourselves, make them a little bit more menacing. We come to this shape here, drop it down and start just dropping that back bit off. We can get a nice little shape going, so we're taking it down 2 foot there, 2 foot here. Get it as close as we can to that. Let's do the same here. This shape, we're just using the flatten tool at the moment. And as you can see in a second, we're going to have to flatten off that bit of rough over by the edge of the fairway there. Looks a bit, doesn't look right over here. So we're just going to go big, drop it down till it's sort of level with the rest of the fairway, clean up that little edge. That's that. So now we've got this sort of really rough transitioning area here. Now we're going to try and sort that issue out. So we're going to go to the flatten tool. We're going to lose our tee boxes, but for a minute we'll have to. We'll try and get this done as best we can. It's not an easy thing to do, sculpting, but we've got to try and make something a bit smoother going on here. So just creeping it down a little bit at a time. As you can see, it will start to just, as I try and get it from this angle, as we come to here, you see it starts to drop, comes to here, get a big drop, come to here, get a big drop. We may lose some of the bunkers we just did a second ago, but it's not a problem. Come to here, and then we'll just keep running that through till it's about here. Say that. And that's a nice smooth transition now all the way up to that hill. We've just got to recreate our tee boxes again, so we're going to go back to landscape flat. Get that in there, get that there, raise it up a little bit. Get it behind, get it towards the edge. One, drop that down. Get that area nice and smooth, get that in. And then we can basically, because we've smoothed out that land now, we can now go back to raise, make it a lot bigger, and just drop that down. And that will keep our nice sort of smooth shape going. Coming down that hill, we might lose a tiny bit of it, but we can just go to raise again. We're not going to use the flatten tool anymore. I just wanted to use the flatten tool as an iron to smooth out those bumps. Now by going to this raise tool like this, I could just creep down all those areas. As I move it, you'll see them start to raise, drop. Just do it how you see it. So I don't really want to touch too much up there. There's a little bits here and there that I can just manipulate. So I'm not going to use that shape. I'm going to use this shape. It's my favourite shape. So there's a couple of slightly higher bits here. I'm just going to drop those down there. Come over this side, do the same here. Same here. And then it's just a case of just looking at little areas and just thinking, oh, that needs raising. So you just minimise it to the smallness of the bit you want to actually raise. Just go up and down until you think it looks nice and smooth again. Obviously you don't want it completely smooth, but you just want to get a nice transition going down that looks smoothish to the eye. It looks a little bit more realistic rather than having massive bumps. So for a start, that's fine. Next thing we're going to do is check out view again, make sure we're in line, and then we'll just have to drop back in and do those bunkers again, I'm afraid. Play course. So there we go, we're now 65 foot down, but we can drop that area down another 6 foot, because we can see loads of it now. Got a nice wide view in the background. Where are we? Oh, lost it. There we go. So we go back to that big shape again. Raise. Go make it slightly bigger than the area itself. Let's do it this way this time because I want to incorporate a bit of the fairway as well. I said 6 foot, didn't I? Let's try that. Now we'll just come back and check this way to make sure we haven't made nothing too drastic there. It's a tiny bit I'm going to just adjust, which will be this point here. Just going to dip that down a little bit. And then there's a bit behind it, which is there, which I'm just going to raise up a bit. Get that smoothness back. Looking that way. That's that. That's fine. So we've got a nice smooth hill coming down there now. And if we want to make sure the edge of our fairways, I don't mind that little tapering down there, that's fine. I'm going to get rid of the mow pattern out of that fairway. Wrong one. Fairway settings, mow patterns, width intensity gone. Texture I'm going to change to 44. Green I'm going to change to a bit too bright still, too dark, too green. Let's try 23. It's a bit naff. Don't want to dwell too much on this stuff. So obviously, yeah, now we've lost our things again, so we'll just do the same thing. We'll go back to landscape. We'll go flatten. We'll go, it's kind of a circle. Can we get away with this shape? Yeah, we should be fine. So we're just pinching the edges of the fronts of each bunker and raising that whole green up a little bit. Say 6 foot for now. Alright, now brought our bunker shape back in there. But if I go keep it on raise and then drop that whole thing down, it will keep the shape of the bunkers and we'll get our 6 foot back. Okay, so we gained 6 foot. We're going to take it off again. Okay. So flatten was the one we did. It was only a couple of foot, wasn't it, on each one? So we'll just go down to 2 foot there. 1, 2. As you can see, I do most of my work with this shape. It's a nice fuzzy shape to work with. It achieves a lot. Just want to bring that whole area down a little bit more. And then we'll take that down again. I don't want to make it 5 foot. I'd like to make that bunker a bit more menacing than this one. It's fine. Okay. So now you can see we got this big bit here. So what most people would think is, oh, I'm going to try and flatten that. The worst thing you can do is try and flatten that, because you're just going to create problems over here, everywhere. So you want to start to use the raise tool in this scenario. So you want to get that shape there and start dropping it down. Okay, it's going to create sort of little problems here and there, but they're easy to deal with on the raise tool. So I can then start to raise this little bit up in front. And I can just take off this little edge here and start blending it all back in together. I've got this funky little ridge coming down, or this little valley that sort of created itself here, so I can just go back, start bringing it forward, making it bigger as I go. I can start to get rid of that. Then this bit here I could just literally flatten, because it's not so much in my eye shot, it's quite a flat bit of land as it is, so I could just take that out of the equation like that. So that's the sort of shape going into our bit there. This I can create a little bit more of a smoother transition just by going to flatten, and then we'll just ease that out with, actually let's try the raise. We're just going to pinch the back edge of the fairway with the raise, just to not so make it so drastic. Have a look at our transitions going on there, it's fine. It's just one point here, one point there. I'm just going to lower those with the raise, just to smooth those out so they're not so noticeable. And then it was about here, wasn't it? I'm going to do that bit, and I'm going to go to the bit behind it and do that as well. That's fine. Alright, let's have a look at that. It's a lot of sculpting, but it's going to get you to where you want to be. Now, my biggest issue with that is I can't see the bunkers, and I want to see the bunkers. It's got nothing to do with the sculpting, it's to do with the height. So we are 70, I mean, also putting that second tee box has been a bit of a pain, really, but I could, in theory, gotta keep losing it, sorry, there we go. We could slide it back a bit more, make it a bit closer. Just sculpt that little bit of land down there a bit smoother in front. So we'll go here, we'll go flatten, get that shape again. Just make that a bit tighter there on the front. And we'll do the same with the other front. Could even go back more, can't we, in that scenario. So we'll take that back more, and we'll drop this bit down more. That's our two tee box sort of areas. About that. And we can even put a third in if you wanted to, but we don't want to do that, obviously. So now we're going to go Did this to me the other day. Right, I'm going to go to landscape, raise. Just take off this sharpish edge here. Drop that down a little. And then a bit in front of it. Because there's nothing really to do with that. I think it's going to be a case of raising this up a little bit. We might lose our 71 foot. We might have to take it back to sort of around the 65. It's because we're working on a short par 3. Obviously you're trying to transition a lot in a very short amount of yardage. Hopefully we'll be able to see our bunkers now. There you go, we can see all the hole we need to see now. It's a nice view. 66 foot down. We could still drop it down another 5 so foot, but I'm not worried about it. That's fine. So let's have a quick look around the outside. I do believe that on that Pebble, God, I keep losing it, don't I? That Pebble Beach hole, there's like a sort of raised mound here, isn't there? It's like a bit of an area like that, isn't there? With a little cart path that runs off. Let's put that in just for the fun of it, and we can run a cart path around there. That's that for a minute. I want to change the lighting because that's horrible. We'll drop the inclination down a bit to say 30. About that. And we're going to make it say midday. Or should we go earlier? We'll do 9. Where's my light coming from? When I put cliffs in, I'm going to want a bit of light there. It's a bit too drastic for my liking about there, so I'm going to take the mauve patterns out of that green, that's horrible. I'm going to take the fringe off. Somebody asked me about fringe. This is where you do fringe. Take your whip off, mauve pattern off. And I really don't like the texture of that green, although it's kind of irrelevant for this video. It's not what we're here for. Just want to find a happy medium. Can't find anything I like. It's better. I'll do for now. So that's all very sort of put in reasonably quickly and quite basic really sort of stuff there really, but it's managed to get what we're after. I mean basic as in the layout of the whole sort of bunkering and stuff like that. We could just start to smooth out some of this land around it now because we do want to drop a path around here. It's going to be not easy to do in the amount of space we've got, but I'll do for a minute. So what are we in video time? 33 minutes, that's pretty much half the video I wanted to do in that respect. So let's change our rough settings. Nice dark colour, or this one. Do for now, nice greeny colour. So where we've got this cliff going now, we could obviously create a bedrock first, going all the way around. So let's create that. I'm going to go create surfaces, terrain painting, bedrock spline, and we're just going to follow the line of the grass along the edge of where we've cut our cliff face. Doesn't matter if we overlap it a bit, we can come back with some grass later and fill all that area in. Just take it up to this point here, drop it in the water, make a few points that go around, because we're going to link it back up in a minute to this one, and that will make all that bedrock now. So that's all bedrock. So that's the start of our cliffs already. Alright, now if you thought the whole thing was too high, you could just do this landscape raise, get a really big circle, go bigger than where you are, and start to drop that whole thing down. Okay, so you can go down. It won't change our elevations of what we've done, but it'll make our cliffs lower. So when we do come to doing rock work, we're not quite so high, but we wouldn't have lost anything with what we did here because we used the raise. We can still see everything we need to see. Okay, that's that. Very quickly, I'm going to add some. God, that's refroze me like this. I'm going to add some clouds quickly. It'll take me a sec to get this in. We add a bit of haze to it. Tiny bit. Clouds, first cloud layer. Let's bring it up. That one will do. Size can make them a bit bigger, like that, and then we'll add a second cloud layer, bring that up, just until it starts to darken a wee bit, like that. And we'll check out the size of those, and just adjust them accordingly. We'll have a bit of light, because it sets off the edge of the bunkers nicely. And we'll add a little bit more cloudiness, just until it starts to change there. That'll do for a minute. Right, let's add a texture in while we're here. So we've got textures we can work with. Let's go for grass top, not surface ribbon, grass topsoil. So let's go to this one, select the texture we want to work on. I'm going to choose something like that, a natural area. Okay, then I'm going to spline that whole area. Let's just do the whole thing. So this whole area around here. Oh, I don't want to go over onto the bedrock, do I? Wally. Keeping it tight along the edge there. I may have affected some of my bedrock there, but we'll get rid of that in a minute. Bring it to there. It's going to look ridiculous. So then we go to edit and we go to intensity and we start to fade it out. And we'll start getting some rough patches going. Get some little texture and stuff happening through the course, make things look a bit differently, and then we'll do a second one of a subsoil A. Now let's do a subsoil B. Spline, we've got to select it first, Steve. No, I don't want that one. I want A, because I want to get like another fade of grass running through there. Something like this one. Then we'll come out of there, go spline. We'll just see what we can mix that in with as well. It didn't go over our bedrock here, no we didn't. That's fine, we'll just run along here. See what we can get going with that. And we'll fade that out again, back to around 20 so. And if we bring up our first one, which was the grass topsoil, let's see if I can bring up the intensity of that anymore. Spin it around that way. I don't want it to be all too brown, but I don't mind a bit of patchiness. Getting a bit of patchiness going around there. So on that, to get rid of that, we'll just go the secondary surface of the fairway. We're going to make that heavy rough. And we can increase the width for that just to make sure it covers those bunkers. It gives us a good heavy rough bit around there. That's fine. And then we will go over here. Earlier, before I started the video, I just created a little grass farm, and I put that windmill there to show me where it was. It's here. Let's see if we can do this very quickly. Area select. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing this, but I did it on Rannoch Moor and got away with it because I was using absolutely no trees. Copy selection. So I managed to use so much grass on Rannoch Moor, like just doing this basically. And we'll just keep going back to our farm, adding these little bits. We can twist them and shape them so they're not all the same direction, not all the same style. To save some time, I'm going to double this size up. Put it here, twist it around so it's not exactly the same. And then do that whole section. So click on that, area select. Grab that whole thing now. Copy. I'm just trying to do this to save time, so we can get a nice looking sort of hole. Put that behind there. We'll go back and do that again. And the rock work shouldn't take too long, hopefully. I'm not going to worry about the cart path and stuff. I can't do too much unless I do it in 2 videos, and I'll do it like that. I'm not sure. Just see what we got left in a minute. It's just my inability to edit at the moment, these videos, so I'm doing them all off the cuff. There's no breaks or edits in them. Let's get that back as close as we can to say that. We'll try and just get one more in, maybe, just for now. That. As you can see, we're already up to 6% objects, so this is why I wouldn't massively recommend you do a whole course like this, because you'll just burn through your meter. But for the purpose of this video, it's getting me where I want to be quickly. So then I'm going to get a bit of surface weathering going quickly. So we're going to go create surfaces, surface weathering, brush. Get that going through there, get a bit of character to it. We can change the intensity of our surface weathering as well, so it doesn't have to be so bright. As you can see, it says intensity 100%. If we click on that in a minute, we can drop that down to a nice, if you think it looks too bright for your course, you can affect that. So it's just a case of going to each one that you just laid. I'll do a couple first. Let's do that again. Let's go back to that. See, it's not letting me scroll down. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's just go over here, hit something, so I can go back to it. Go to here. Great. Okay, let's leave that for a minute, because that's going to annoy me. Let's try play test and then go back and try it again. So let's have a look at our view. Didn't allow for the drop. There you go, that's our T-box all the way up there on that hill. Let's have a look at that. So it's quite a big elevation change, and we can see everything really nicely from up there. Okay, let's go back. We are 15 minutes and we can get a bit of rock work started. If I do have to put it into a couple of videos, I will. So can I select these points now? Yeah, surface weathering. So you hover over the one you want to affect, go down to the bottom and you'll see it highlight, and you just drop off the intensity of them. They're pretty bright, most of these. I've done it again. So that's that. Rocks. My favourite for doing the higher cliffs, there's only two I really like to use. It's going to be that one for most of it. I don't want to make it too big because I don't want it to overpower everything. I want to leave a little bit of a... See, on these ones I'd like to creep it over a little bit, so I'm getting a little bit of rock creeping over the edge, and then I can run some grass all along there to neaten that edge up. But that just lets me follow the line of the cliff, so I'm not just doing dead straight lines. I want to twist them and I want to angle them because I want to avoid over patterning them the same pattern over and over and over. So just by dropping bits in, the main pattern on that is the right pattern, and if you can see, it's the darker bit at the top that sticks out. So I've hid it there, so now it's showing it's that pattern there. If you can start to hide that, you can start to blend this rock in, but we can hide it another way so it's not overly covering everything up. Now this rock as well, it's fine from a distance, and now green isn't very close to it, but if you make it this big it looks awful. But because we're at a distance and we're using it for cliffs, we can get away with it. Now you may think that the existing cliffs are fine as they are. That's absolutely fine, I ain't got a problem with that. This new bedrock weathering, or bedrock painting, is really good. But I like to add a bit of my own rock work in with it. So we're just going to start to just move them at different heights now, making sure we're not just running along the same line every time. We're going to blend it all in a little bit in a second, just with another type of rock. So what you want to avoid doing is sort of having two tiers of where that rock's sitting. So you want to keep the tiers. You can see that pattern repeating. So we come out, we go to the next one, which is going to be this one. We're going to get it at that shape. Now we're going to start to sort of change the angle of our cliff a little bit so it's not so dead straight. Okay, we're going to start blending this sort of shape in, which then takes our pattern out of the equation a bit. We've got to avoid putting a new pattern in over and over. But if we just keep hiding it at the bottom there, most of that stuff we do at the bottom is going to be hidden anyway by another layer of rock in a minute. You can see we're starting to get a little diagonal pattern creep in, but we can just keep blending that in, overlaying it with other bits like this, and it will start to disappear. Started to creep along. I can't do the whole cliff face. I'm just concentrating on this little area at the moment. Just tuck that in to make sure it's blended. So you can see the two types of rock don't blend too bad. They're pretty reasonable. You get away with it. And also you got the rock underneath of the natural bedrock, which will blend in as well nicely. So you got plenty of options. I'm not overly keen on the first bit of rock I laid, but it's doing a job for now. Now in that scenario there, I would normally run grass all the way along just to blend that in. So if we don't get this video finished today, we'll come back tomorrow and we'll do more of the planting along this cliff face and get it looking really smart and snazzy and finish the hole off. Do some path work and that tomorrow and sort out all these bits I put in. It's still not letting me get to these surface weathering bits. It's just freezing, like it won't let me scroll up or down. I don't know why it's doing that. But let's carry on with our... So the next shape I'm going to use now is... So how long we got? 10 minutes left. Let's go to stone, take it off place. It's the same sort of stone, but just a different shape. We're going to use about as many of those styles as we can, but we're going to start to bring the rock out at the bottom now a little bit. So we're just tapering the whole cliff face out. So it's not just one constant dead straight line going down. We're starting to bring it out a little bit and make it look a bit more natural. Avoid trying to over create the same pattern again just by changing the different angles and dropping it in a bit deeper and making certain bits more prominent. You can spin this one around the other way, it's not too bad. It does sort of taper off a little bit like that, which I don't mind, but you tend to, that pattern repeats quite a lot. You can't really hide it unless you start jutting bits out like this, and then you sort of lose the object what you're trying to achieve, which is a nice flowing sort of ascendancy coming down of different rocks. So that's starting to come together now a little bit, and then we've got the third layer that we could start to bring into effect now. And obviously if we were really fussed, we could start blending this next one in up the top as well into the actual soil. It does create a little bit of a ridge at the back, which annoys me, and it doesn't blow up very well, to be honest. But again, if you're hiding that with grass and stuff and bushes, and which I would do eventually, you can just start to change the shape of the stuff at the top and make that blend a bit more. It's just the main key to it really is avoiding patterns. So you're constantly moving, even if it's only a slight degree change. You're just trying to avoid these patterns reoccurring. There's a little area through here which I just want to work on quickly, and then we'll get to the bottom section. Where was we? Come on. Nice and quick. What one should we try? This one. See if I can get it in here. A little bit there, yeah. So there you go, we've overlaid quite a lot of that now. And it's not repeating as much as it was. Just getting rid of all those little darker bits there. So we're coming down now to the next stone, which will be this one next. Now this is the one that I like to use to sort of bring it out a little bit more. It's a bit big at the moment. Let's bring that out. So I want to start to create like a pinnacle point coming out now. So we'll just get that in there for a minute. And I'm going to start to bring it out. Now, the problem with this shape is you get that big taller bit at the back there. You just got to try and blend it in with the rocks behind as best you can, just suggesting little bits of it here and there, and then spinning it the other way to try and avoid a repeat. Getting it back into, say, there, and then blending it back into those ones. And then once you've sort of got that sort of shape, you can start stepping it down a little bit, bringing it out. I think that's the last one I'll do of that. Try it that way. And I'm going to go back to the other shape, try and take it out a bit more with this one. And we are trying to work quite quick, so we're not quite as, we're rushing it a bit, but we're getting the look we sort of want. It just needs a little bit more love. But we're kind of getting that. You're just trying to transition down that cliff face so we're getting a nice even flow going down. And the last one we'll do is the flatter one again, which we use at the top, which is down here. Got 5 minutes left on our video, so let's get this going a little bit quicker. And this is going to give us like this sort of surface rock, so we've really transitioned down now to the lowest part of our rock formation, coming down this hill. And we can start to bring this out a little bit further as well now. Don't want to be too even or trying to be too symmetrical with it. It can get funny shapes. It don't matter. You can just drop in some bits in the water now, spin that around and drop that down a bit lower. Getting shapes like that going. As I say, we're doing this all very quickly. And then if we spin our light round now, try and get a view of this orientation. There we go. Just you want it to see your light's just creeping onto it. Say something like that. Now you can't really see much repeating there. It's pretty reasonable as in the amount of stuff we've got going on. Obviously we can put more rock in there, make it more sort of broken up and interesting, little bits coming off here and there in other places, so it's not so uniform. Just find the flat one we was just using. So for the purpose of the video was really, this episode was more getting that elevation change. I hope that made sense in the elevation side of it. We did that quite reasonably quickly and I was quite happy about that. How it turned out. We can just start focusing on the rockwork stuff tomorrow. We'll do a bit more of that and blending that in. So you can just keep raising these little bits up as they blend in, bringing them round. You can make it as funky as you want, as much sort of stuff coming off as you want, and make it more interesting. And but that's how I layer it like that. So that's that. Okay, let's go back to our hole. You won't see any of that rock work obviously off the tee, so it's kind of pointless for the purpose of the hole. But there's our nice 66-foot drop down. We've got a lovely view of the green, lovely view of the bunkers, nice view of the coastline there. Bit of rock work as you zoom in for your shot, but not too much. We'd obviously finish that off tomorrow, get a bit more rock work going, get a bit more grass going, try and make it look a bit nicer. Maybe even get some cameras in to have a little shoot around the hole. But I hope that helps the guy who wanted to see about elevation changes off your tee box. The key to it really is, it's in the sculpting obviously. It's getting everything flat and then using that raised tool to step it down, rather than using a flattened tool to step it down. And the next key to it is getting your tee box nice and small, and you can get your tee right up to the edge of the tee box, and then you can get maximum viewpoint then. With that, all you've got to do is make sure you're flat. So I would over extend the flatness of that. Let's just come out of there, because I've put it so close to the edge of that drop. We can afford to. Let's just do that very quickly. We can find it. Got 1 minute left. Yeah, so if you could, it'd be great if you could like and subscribe if the video's been any help to you. I hope it has. We can do that, and we can just overextend that on the edge of our tee box now. So if we go back to our shot quickly, maybe that should be nice and flat there. Can see some tapering off, but I mean at the end of the day we can come back and have another foot. We've got plenty of scope there. We can see everything we need to, so I would bring that back a little bit, but we'll brush up on that on the next episode. But thanks for watching. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It really helps the channel, and I hope I've been some help to you, and have a good day. Take care. See ya.